Was the Word the Son or God the Father? Never mind me. Let's see. We're going to see it together, okay? Was the Word the Son, or was the Word God the Father? Let's see. John 1:1. Now I'm going to go to a couple of passages of Scripture, but I want to start here and we'll see how God does this, okay? I'm reading from the New King James Version, but in passages I may quote it from the original where things were changed. All right. John 1:1. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. All right, let's stop right there. Now, some of you were taught that the Word was God the Son, or the Word was the Son, or in the beginning was the Son. Nowhere does it say that. Now, let's try to read this from a Trinitarian viewpoint and see if that works, because they would have the Word as the second person in the Trinity, and they would have the God that the Word was with as the first person of the Trinity. So in their view, it would be the Word is God the Son, and the God that the Word was with was God the Father. So they got two of them in this passage. But let's see if that works. In the beginning was the Word, God the Son, and the Word, God the Son, was with God the Father, and the Word, God the Son, was God the Father. Doesn't work, does it? Now, in order for them to try to use that theology, then they have to try to change the definition of what God means in the middle of the verse. So it doesn't work, because in the doctrine of a Trinity, none of the persons can be the same person. So it collapses right there. Now let's read it from the oneness viewpoint. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God the Father, and the Word was God the Father. Okay, no problem there. We're talking about one God, the Father, and nobody else. Okay. Let's go to verse 10, same chapter, John 1, verse 10, and I want you to see this. John 1, verse 10, he was in the world, and the world was made. Now, in the New King James Version, you see how it says through him? In the original King James Version, it doesn't say through him. It says by him. There's no through. Because God cannot make through someone else who is God. God makes direct. So they changed the word by in the New King James Version, and they put the word through in there, slipped that in there. They also put in verse 2, if you was to read that, it says he was with God and made it sound like a second person was with the Father. In the original King James, it doesn't say he was with God in verse 2. It says the same was with God. The same. Now, the same is a big difference than he. And so you see how they flip-flop things around? So I'm going to quote this in the original King James Version, because the original King James Version was published in 1611. The New King James Version was published 1983. You can look that up, so you know which one was first. The further back you go, the closer you get to the original. All right. He was in the world, and the world was made by him, and the world did not know him. There's only one they didn't know, and there's only one who made the world. He came to his own, and his own did not receive him. Let's deal with this. He came to his own. I want to deal with the he, and I want to deal with the his own. Now, if you were to say that this is talking about the word, which is in a Trinitarian viewpoint, God the Son, or a son, then you would be saying that the Son came to his own, and his own did not receive him. Now, let me show you the problem, because you need some understanding on the his that is mentioned in verse 11, and you need understanding on the own. So we got his own, and we got he came. Who's the he and who's the his own? Well, the his own would be the children of Israel. Now, the he, who's the he? Now, if you say that's the Son, let me show you the problem. Because if you're trying to say that the reason why the children of Israel are called his own is because he was Jewish and of natural descent, and he came to other Jews. If you were to say that this was a Jewish man, and that's the he, and the his own just means people like him or other Jewish people. The problem with that is in verse 10, it says he was in the world and the world was made by him. Now, the world was not made by a man. The world was made by a spirit. And that spirit wasn't Jewish. God's not Jewish. God's not of any descent. God didn't come from Jews. Jews came from God. So, you can't say that the reason why it's those who he came to is in relation to him by Jewish descent. And that's the he in verse 11. He came to his own. A Jewish man came to his own? No, because in verse 10 it says that he made the world and he was in the world. So we're talking about the one that made the world that came to his own. Now, if we're talking about the one that made the world that came to his own, then the his own is in relation to the spirit. So this would be the flesh, or the children of Israel, which is his own, relating to a spirit that made the world. Now, if it's in relation to a spirit and not a man, then this doesn't have anything to do with being Jewish. His own doesn't have anything to relate him to being Jewish, because we're talking about the Jews being in relation to the one that made the world. So this would be a spirit. Now, there was only one spirit that the children of Israel were claimed by as their very own. And there was only one spirit that the children of Israel served. And that would be God the Father. They didn't serve a son. Show me in Scripture where the children of Israel served a such thing as God the Son. You can't find it, can you? You find where they served one alone. And the children of Israel belong to the God that created them. So this is in regard to, or in relation to, the Spirit. And if this is in relation to the Spirit, then his own does not apply to Jewish descent, or him or the he being of Jewish descent, because nobody of Jewish descent made the world. So it's not talking about the Son, because the Son was of Jewish descent. Seed of Abraham, seed of David. So that's not what it's talking about. This is talking about the Spirit that made the world. Let me read verse 10 and 11 together. Look at it. He was in the world, and the world was made. Again, I'm going to quote it from the original, not the new. The world was made by him, and the world did not know him. So the one that made the world is who it's talking about, right? Was it a Jewish man that made the world? No, right? So it's talking about a spirit. He, which would be the one that made the world, verse 11, the Spirit, he came to his own, and his own did not receive him. Receive who? The Spirit. So this is talking about a spirit that came to his own, not a man that came to his own. So his own doesn't have anything to do with him being Jewish. Since the world wasn't made by a Jew. The world was made by God. And God is not Jewish. Do you see this? Do you see this? So, the reason why they're called his own is this would be in terms of him being the Spirit which created them. So it's the God of Israel that created them. That's why they're called his own. This is not talking about a son relating to other Jews. This is talking about the Father who created the children of Israel, the God of Israel. He came to his own. Now, let's read a little bit further. Verse 12. As many as received him, not them, as many as received him, he gave the right to become children of God to those who believe in his name. That name is Jesus. The Son came in the Father's name, and he inherited the name of the Father. So the name Jesus is originally the Father's name, and the Son inherited the name when the Father came in flesh. Now, let's read more. You can find that also in Hebrews 1. Read it from 1 to about verse 4. Okay. Who were born not of blood, nor of the will of flesh, nor of the will of man, but of God. All right, verse 14, starting to get good now. And the Word became flesh, or was made flesh, and dwelt among us. The Word was made flesh and dwelt among us. Now, in the New King James, it says became flesh. It originally said made. And the Word was made flesh and dwelt among us, and we beheld his glory. Who's the his? The Word. The Word is the his. We beheld the Word's glory, and his the Word's glory. The glory as of the only begotten of the Father, full of grace and truth. So the one that was begotten is the Word's glory, not the Word. I'm gonna say that again. I don't think you heard it. The one that was begotten is the Word's glory. The one that was begotten is not the Word. No, read it again. We beheld his glory. It's talking about the glory of the Word. What we beheld, or what beheld means saw. What we saw is we saw the Word's glory. And who did they see? They saw what was begotten by the Word. And what was begotten by the Word was the Son. So since the Word begot the Son, and the Son is the Word's glory, because that's the Word's, the Son is the Son is the responsibility of the Word, that's who begot him, then the Word has to be the Father, not the Son. Now, if you say that the Word was the Son, then how could the Son be the glory of the only begotten of the Son? No, the Son wasn't begotten of a Son. If the Son was begotten of a Son, then God the Father would be a granddad. Do you see the problem? So the Word is the one that begot the Son. And the Son is the glory of the Word. The Word was made flesh, and we beheld his glory. And what's his glory? The glory as of the only begotten of the Father. So the glory is that which was begotten of the Father. Remember, the Son said, I didn't come to glorify myself. So if you have a Son glorifying a Son, you got something else that Jesus didn't teach. Let me read it again. Verse 14. And the Word became flesh, or was made flesh. The Word which was God was made flesh and dwelt among us. This also clarifies that the one who came is referring to a spirit, not a Jewish man that came to Jewish people. So when it says his own, he came to his own, it's not talking about that which relates to Jewish descent coming to other Jewish people. No, it's talking about a spirit who could call the children of Israel his own. And there's only one spirit that could call the children of Israel his own, and that would be the God that created them. So his own is in terms of he created them, and the children of Israel were God's original chosen people. That would be the God of Israel. That would be the Father. He came to his own. Okay, Back to verse 14. And the Word was made flesh and dwelt among us, and we beheld his glory. Whose glory? The Word's glory. We saw something. We beheld something. And that something that we beheld is the Word's glory. What did they see? Here's what they saw. The glory as of the only begotten of the Father, full of grace and truth. So what was begotten, that's the Word's glory. I'm going to say it again. What was begotten, what they beheld, that was the Word's glory. Now, those of you who said that the Son was the Word, you got it wrong. No, the Son is the glory of the Word that begot him. That's why it's his glory, because he's the one that begot him. So God did a work. His Spirit overshadowed Mary. He caused Mary to conceive a son. The son was made of a woman, according to Galatians 4:4, when shows that's where he started, because he was made of the woman. Not made in heaven, neither made of God, but he was made of a woman, Galatians 4:4, which started in the womb of his mother, Mary. That's why he was Jewish. So God used the woman to make the son. The woman didn't come from heaven. The woman came from earth. And the woman was already on earth. And God made him from her. Which shows that the son started there, in the womb of his mother, Mary. Not in heaven. Does everyone see this? So the Son is the glory of the Word. The Son's not the Word. The Son's the glory of the Word, and the Word is the one that begot the Son. So the God that the Word is that God, the one that begot him, the Father. Do you see it? Do you see it? Let me just go a little further and prove to you that the glory that the Son is the glory of the Father. Let me show you. Look at Hebrews. And right here you see it's the Word's glory, right? And you can read that, right? Okay. Hebrews chapter 1, verse 1. God, who at various times and in various ways spoke in time past to the fathers by the prophets, has in these last days spoken to us by his Son. The term his Son makes it God the Father that was speaking by prophets of old. So there was nobody in the Old Testament that prophesied by the inspiration of a such thing as a spirit called God the Son, or God the Word, or someone else. No, it is the Father specifically that is spoke by prophets. And in the last days, he spoke by a Son, by his Son, which makes this God the Father. Do you see this? Let's continue. So it's talking about the Father. All right. Let's go down to verse 3. Well, actually, I'll just read from verse 2. Has in these last days spoken to us by his Son, whom he appointed heir of all things, through whom also he made the worlds. Notice there's an S on the word worlds. If you look up what that means in the Greek, The word worlds is in the Greek is eons. It's not talking about heaven and earth. It's not talking about planets. It's talking about the eons or the ages, which would be in the spiritual kingdom. So God the Father created the spiritual kingdom through the Son when he came in the flesh. When you're born again, you're born of a new creation. And that new creation was made by the Father, but he did it through the Son because he had to come in the flesh in order to do so. And that's how you're born again, born of a spiritual kingdom. So that's that's the worlds that is referring to that he made through the Son. Not heaven and earth. Heaven and earth is what he made by himself, alone. And you can find that in Isaiah 44:24. I just wanted to clear up that. Okay. Look at verse 3. Who being the brightness of his glory. Whose glory? The Father's glory, right? Being the brightness. So the Son is the brightness of the Father's glory. And the express image of his person. Whose person? The Father's person. So if the Son is the image of the Father's person, and the Son is the Father's glory, then when it said that the Son is the glory of the Word, then the Word has to be the Father. I'm going to read verse 3 again. Who being the brightness of his glory. His glory, right? Back to John 1. Back to John 1, verse 14. And the Word was made flesh and dwelt among us, and we beheld his glory. Whose glory? The Word's glory, right? And what is the Word's glory? The only begotten of the Father, full of grace and truth. But in Hebrews 1, Hebrews 1 and 3, who being the brightness of his glory, and the his is the Father, right? So the Word is the Father, and the Son is the glory of that Father. So the Word which was God is the same God, the Father. Who being the brightness of his glory and the express image of his person. Notice, not persons, not three persons, not a trinity. The Son's not an image of a trinity. First of all, the Son's an image. And the image that the Son is image of is the Father's person. So if the Son is the image of the Father's person, this proves there's no spirit Son. So he could not have been God the Son who came in the flesh. No, the Son's the image of the Father's person. Son's described as image. The Father's the one that's invisible. So that's all we have. We don't have two that are invisible. And he's not the image of a second. He's not the image of a second God person. He's the image of the Father's person. Does everyone see this, y'all? This literally says person. And the person that is being described is the Father, and the Son's the image of his person. Which shows that the Son was not before that. If the Son's the image of the Father's person, then the Son could not have been around before the image. The Son is the image. The Father is who the Son is image of. So all you have is the Father, which is a spirit, and God, and the Son is the image of that Father. Says Father's person, right? Let me back up. Let me get Father in your spirit. Let me show you. Hebrews 1:1. God, who in various times and in various ways spoke in time past to the fathers by the prophets, has in these last days spoken to us by his Son. He wasn't speaking by a son in the Old Testament. He didn't exist. He spoke by prophets instead. They existed. Son came later after he begot one. Has in these last days spoken to us by his Son, by whom he has appointed heir of all things. Now, if he was God the Son, he couldn't have been appointed heir of nothing. He was appointed by the Father heir of all things. Through whom also he made the worlds. And again, I explained that worlds there is eons, referring to the spiritual kingdom. That's what he made through the Son. And that didn't start until the flesh, till the death, burial, and resurrection. All right? Who being the brightness of his glory, the Father's glory, again, the Son is the brightness of the Father's glory. Not his own glory. No, he's the brightness of the Father's glory and the express image of his person, not his own person, not an image of a God the Son, not an image of a spirit son of any kind. He's the image of the Father's person. You literally see that, and it's one person. This cuts Trinity out. There's no way around that. There's no way around that. This proves Trinity is as false as it gets. The Son is the image of the Father's person. And the Son is being described as image, that which you could see. And who the Son is image of is the Father's person, so that would be the Spirit that he's image of, the God that begot him. Do you see it? That's clear. Okay. Here, I'll show you one more thing. I'll show you another thing. Let's go a little further. Look at verse 5. To which of his angels did he ever say, or at any time, talking about the Father, did he ever say, did he ever say this to an angel? You are my son. Today I have begotten you. Today I have begotten you. God never said that to an angel, but he did say that to his Son. I have begotten you today. That cuts out eternal Son, right? Today I have begotten you. That's plain English. The Father begot the Son on a certain day. Does everyone see this? So before that day, he didn't exist. When shows that the Son cannot be God. Can't be God the Son, can't be God of any kind. Can't be God with God. Can't be. Today I have begotten you. Let me show you something else. Does everyone see this, y'all? Hebrews 2:7. You have made him a little lower than angels. You have crowned him with glory and honor, and set him over the works of your hands. You have put all things in subjection under his feet. This is the writer speaking of what the Father did for the Son. He set the Son over the work of his hands, not his own hands. This proves to you the Son didn't create the world, not heaven and earth. The Father set him over the work of his hands. So the Father's the one that made it. The Father's the one that created it. He put the Son over the work which he created. Doesn't say the Son did it. The Son was put over what the Father did. Does everyone see this? Let me read that again. Verse 7. You have made him lower than angels. You, referring to the Father, have made him, referring to the Son, a little lower than angels. You have crowned him with glory and honor. The Father crowned the Son with glory and honor, and set him over the works of your hands. Whose hands? The Father's hands. So the Father's hands is what created everything, not the Son. Son's hands didn't do nothing. The Father's hands is what created the world. The Father set the Son over what he created. Do you see? So we have the Father alone, y'all, that created everything. Son was set over what the Father created. So it doesn't have the Son as a second creator. Even the spiritual kingdom wasn't created by the Son directly. Even that was done by God in the flesh. So it's still God. He was just in use of the man in order to do the creating of the spiritual kingdom. So even the eons, the ages, even that was made by the Father, but that was through the Son. So in other words, God came in the flesh functioning as the man in order to create the spiritual kingdom. So even that wasn't done by the Son directly. Do you see? Trinity has the Son as this self-glorifying person, as him doing the work, not the Father. When the Son, according to John 14:10, said he can of himself do nothing. It's the Father that dwells in him. He does the work. Now, my God, this is so clear. So the word's the Father. The Son's the glory of the Father. Now, back to John 1. Back to John 1 and verse 10. He was in the world, and the world was made, again I'm going to quote the original, by him, and the world did not know him. He came to his own, and his own did not receive him. So it would be the Father. The Father's the one that came to his own, the one that made the world. And we see that it was nobody else that made the world except for the Father alone. Son wasn't around when the world was made. So it was only God the Father who the children of Israel were owned by. He came to his own. And his own did not receive him. Well, they didn't know him. They didn't know it was him. They didn't, because he was hidden in flesh. Do you see this? Let's go a little further to who made the world. Because you already see that the one who made the world is also the one that came to his own. So it could not be referring to a Jewish man coming to his own and coming to people like him who are also Jewish, because it wasn't a Jew that made the world. The one that made the world was a spirit. So that his own is relation between the flesh, or the children of Israel, and a spirit who actually made the world. And there's only one spirit that can claim that the children of Israel are his own. And that would be the one who created them, which would be the God of Israel, the Father. Case closed. Psalms 146. Let's look at something. Psalms 146. Again, I'm reading from the New King James Version, so you won't see the word Lord in all caps. But in the original King James Version, you will see the word Lord in all caps. Praise the Lord, O my soul. While I live, I will praise the Lord. I will sing praises to my God while I have my being. Do not put your trust in princes, nor in a son of man, in whom there is no help. Telling you not to put your trust in a son of man. This shows you that God's not son of man. Because he's going to tell you to trust God, but tell you not to trust son of man. The Son of God was son of man. But the Bible said, if he who believes in me doesn't believe in me, but believes in him that sent me. So to believe in the Son is to believe in the Father, because it was the Father manifested in the flesh. That's who came. Let's continue. Do not put your trust in princes, nor in Son of Man, verse 3, in whom there is no help. His spirit departs. He returns to the earth. In that very day, his plans perish. Happy is he who has the God of Jacob for his help. Who is he talking about? The God of Jacob. And that would be the Father, right? They didn't serve a God the Son. They didn't serve a such thing as Trinity. They didn't serve any of that. They served the one God, the Father. Happy is he who has the God of Jacob for his help, whose hope is in the Lord, his God. Now again, in the original King James, you would see Lord in all capitals, which refers to Yahweh. That would be God the Father. Look who this God is, who made heaven and earth, the sea and all that is in them, who keeps truth forever. So this God that David is telling you put your trust in, it's the one that made heaven and earth. And this is the God of Jacob. In the original, you see Lord in all caps, referring to Yahweh, the Father. So that's who made heaven and earth. The Father alone. Let me show you where he says that himself. Isaiah 44:24. Isaiah 44:24. Thus says the Lord your Redeemer, and he who formed you from the womb. Not three that formed you from the womb. He. It's only one. I am the Lord who makes all things. How many things does he make? All. I am the Lord who makes all things. That's the same one that formed you from the womb, right? That's the one that made all things. I am the Lord who makes all things, who stretches out the heavens all alone, who spreadeth abroad the earth by myself. So this God that created heaven and earth did it alone and by himself. This is his own statement. There was no Trinity. He didn't do it through someone else. He did it alone and by himself. His own statement, right? Okay. Now if we go to Acts, I'm just proving that the one that made heaven and earth was the Father alone. So that I can prove that the one that came, which created the world, it's the Father that came. Not a divine Son that came in the flesh. That's why you won't find anything that says the Son was in the flesh. You don't find that nowhere. Acts 4 and 25. Actually 24. Acts 4:24. So when they heard that, they raised their voice to God with one accord and said, Lord, you are God. Not three are God, not they are God, not a Trinity is God. Nope, Lord, you are God. And all of these people are raising their voice on one accord, so all of them believe in one. Lord, you are God, who made heaven and earth and the sea and all that is in them. Well, that's the same God we was just reading about, right? The one that said he did it alone and by himself. Same one, right? And the same one that was in Psalms 146, right? Let's continue. So we can get the identity of this God who made heaven and earth, who by the mouth of your servant David have said. Well, we read in Hebrews that God spoke by prophets, to the fathers by prophets, and in the Old Testament, but in these last days spoke by his Son. So this would be the Father, right? Who by the mouth of your servant David have said, why did the nations rage and the people plot vain things? The kings of the earth took their stand, and the rulers gathered together against the Lord and against his Christ. The Lord and his Christ. So who Christ, who the man Christ, who the Messiah belongs to? This is that Lord that they're praying to, that they said made heaven and earth. And that's who they're saying is God. So this would be the Son of God's God, the Father. So it is the Father alone that made heaven and earth. No Son was there. If no Son was there, back to John 1:1. Back to John 1 and verse 10. He was in the world, and the world was made by him, and the world did not know him, did not know the Father. That's the only one that made the world, y'all. I just read it to you. He came to his own. It's the Father who is the Spirit that came to his own. The children of Israel was God's chosen people. They were his own. Now, if there was a second spirit that was with him, and it said he came to his own, if it was a God the Son that came to his own, then it would exclude the Father. When something's your own, it means it doesn't belong to nobody else, right? When it's your own. Now, if something's yours, then it could belong to someone else. But when it's your own, the term your own, his own, it means it don't belong to nobody else. Do you see? So this is clear, y'all. It is God the Father that came in the flesh to save his people. Nobody else. And all who believe in his name, and what is his name? His name is Jesus. To all that believe in his name, verse 12, as many as received him, to them he gave the right to become children of God. To those who believe in his name. Whose name? The Father's name. And what is that name? Jesus. Let me show you. That's the redemptive name of God. It's the latest name that the Father gave for himself. And after that, he stopped giving names for himself because the work was finished under that name. Let me just show you that the Son inherited the name. Okay. Hebrews 1. Verse 3. I won't go back too far because you already seen the rest. Who being the brightness of his person, talking about the Son being the brightness of the Father's, who being the brightness of his glory, the Father's glory. The Son is the glory of the Father, and the express image of his person. I have cleared up that there's only one person who the Son's image of, and that would be the image of the Father's person. There's only one who the Son is glory of, and that would be the Father's glory. And according to John 1, we have read where the Son is the glory of the Word, which shows that the Word is the Father, the only begotten of the Father, and upholding all things by the word of his power, not their power, his power, when he had by himself purged our sins, sat down at the right hand of the majesty on high, having become so much better than the angels, as he has by inheritance obtained a more excellent name than they. How did the Son receive his name? He received it by an inheritance. So he inherited the Father's name. And that name is Jesus, which means in English, Jehovah saves, or Yeshua. If you want to take it there to that language, means Yahweh saves. So Jesus, or Yeshua, is the one true God the Father that came in the flesh to save us. Do you see this? So he's the one that was made in the likeness of the Son. Hebrews 7:3, real quick. Hebrews 7:3. Without father, without mother, without genealogy, having neither beginning of days nor end of life, but was made like the Son of God, remains a high priest continually. Who's doing that? Who was made in the likeness of the Son of God? Someone who was without a father and without a mother and without genealogy. Well, there's only God the Father that never had a father. So this is clear that it's God the Father that came in the flesh. Because if it was a such thing as God the Son that came in the flesh, then he would have had a father. Well, this passage here says he was without father and without mother. So that's out. The one that was made the Son. First of all, someone was made the Son. Could not have already been Son, or it would defeat the purpose of being made in the likeness of the Son. So the Son is that which someone was made into, and the way he was made into that was by incarnation. So the Father, through the incarnation, was functioning as the man. When he put on the body and took on the flesh, he shared in our humanity and was made in the likeness of the Son of God. And it was God himself fulfilling the role of the Son. So we have the Father in flesh, the only true God, the God of Israel, the God that created us, the God that made the world by himself and alone. That's the God that came, not another. There wasn't another with him to send. Do you see? So there you have it, y'all. So what I have proven in this video, the word which was God was that God, the Father. There you have it. Peace.